But the pandemic was extremely challenging for the world and for our industry, and we were shut down for quite a period of time. So I believe networks reassess what is important and reassess what they feel they should be moving post-pandemic in different directions. And this happens quite a bit on, as you know, and sometimes you don't know the internal conversations of what happens at the network. But the truth of the matter is, GAC being announced and having Bill Abbott at the helm of it is a great thing to provide and give all the fans more content, because we're always craving for more of this content in the world that isn't there. It seems like we have a lot of, and don't get me wrong, I love Marvel movies, I love superhero movies, I love all the movies that come out. I'm a cinephile. But I find that there is a lack of the movies that we all enjoy and we share a commonality in. The very wholesome, family-friendly programming. So having the GAC family as a new network just means more resources and options for us to be able to go and watch the movies that we love and to see every year.
I want to welcome you to another episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill and I'm your host. And today I have a very highly anticipated episode that I know you guys have been waiting for. David Anselmo is the extraordinary producer who's brought to us movies and shows. When Hope Calls, very popular and well known in the Hallmark world, and then now onto Great American Family. And he is also got a movie coming out. He's the producer for Catering Christmas with Daniel Lissing for Great American Family. And that's coming out, and so this is highly anticipated. I know that you guys have had to wait for the replay of this, but I tell you, it's going to be worth it. David is an incredible individual I got to meet a few years ago, and now I get to share him with you. So without any further ado, here's David. I want to welcome you to another episode of Media from the Heart. My name is Ruth Hill, and I am your host. And today we have an extraordinary guest, and I do mean that sincerely. David Anselmo, someone that I've been privileged to know for a little while. We actually met at a When Calls the Heart convention a couple of years ago. So David, it is so nice to get to meet you. Thank you very much for being willing to come on.
I'm truly blessed that you guys have invited me and are interested in listening to what I have to say. Truly appreciate it.
Well, we are excited. And so for those who may not know about David, wanted to read just a little bit about him just to introduce you. Sudbury, Ontario native David Anselmo has been in the entertainment industry for over 25 years. After graduating university, David spent 7 years of his life working in South Korea and most of Asia as an actor and producer. Among his many credits are international selling films, Our Point, Welcome to Dongmaegul, and highest grossing South Korean film of all time, The Host, which passed the 100 million at the box office. Seeing an opportunity to help create a new industry in Northern Ontario, David moved back to his hometown from a successful film career overseas and founded a production company, Hideaway Pictures, in 2010, and the Northern Ontario Film Studios in 2012, which provides a wide range of equipment and services to help grow the industry for producer filming in Northern Ontario. Hideaway Pictures has helped bring over 50 film and television projects to Northern Ontario in the last decade, starring Academy Award winner Mercedes Ruehl, Academy Award nominee, and there's many of them. I don't want to go over all of them, but we'll touch on some of these. And of course, the reason that so many of my virtual guests are here, When Hope Calls. Also, he's done The Masked Saint, which won the International Christian Film Festival in 2014, and Holiday Calendar for Netflix, which had a record-breaking 50 million streams worldwide. And so, David, I think that your story for me is just absolutely fascinating. Um, I know you were kind of joking, saying, "Oh, you're just this lowly Canadian." No, you're certainly more than that. You certainly are, and it's a
Well, thank
privilege to
you.
have you here.
Yeah,
So,
I've been very, very lucky and privileged in my career path in the industry. It's really a dream. A lot of people, when growing up, they have a dream. I want to be a film actor, a film producer, film director. And those who actually get to live this life and make this a career, a sustainable career, I find are very, very lucky. I get a lot of times people ask me, what was the key to your success? And first and foremost, I say it has to do with luck. We're going to get an opportunity in our life, in our career. And if we are prepared, we'll be able to seize that moment. But the truth of the matter is, without that lucky moment, we don't get that opportunity. So I started off, wanting to be in film, because growing up, what was beautiful is that I could escape and watch a movie and become a fireman, like Billy Baldwin in Backdraft, or become a wrestler in a movie, or an action hero. So I said, I can't really make a determination of what I want to do with my life. So I want to be able to experience a lot of it. And the film industry has allowed me to travel and be in different places and learn about different lives and cultures and stories, which is very important. So storytelling is always been something that my parents said growing up I was good at, and now I get the opportunity to share that with the world. So very, very lucky. So I started off as an actor and went to theater school, and then did some Shakespeare over in Europe a little while, and then found my way, because I had some friends who were teachers in South Korea, to South Korea to visit them. And I did a play, and I met a producer, and he asked me if I wanted to be on a television series. And I said, "Oh, why not? What could possibly go wrong?" 12 million viewers later, and I ended up spending 7 years in Korea making movies and a bunch of television shows, did some soap operas and stuff like that. When I came back home, I realized that I was a great actor in countries that didn't speak English as a fluent language, but wasn't very good as an actor in English speaking countries. So I took the skills that I learned and transferred them over to producing, because I really wanted to continue in my craft. And I've been lucky so far to be able to accomplish that, especially in my home area, near my hometown, and make movies up here and be closer to my family and be able to live the Northern Ontario lifestyle that I grew up with, which is very important to me. So all based on luck is what I say. So I'm very blessed that I had a lucky path.
well, and I do believe, like you're saying, whether it's luck or whatever somebody might call it, I believe that's true. But I also think you saw the opportunities were presented to you, and so they might have been quote unquote lucky opportunities, but you actually took advantage of those opportunities rather than just sitting back and saying, well, what if it doesn't work out? Like if you're offered that TV show, and some people, not you, but some people might think, well, I'm not sure about this, and they would miss that opportunity. And I think that, at least from my perspective, I'm seeing it as luck, but you also took the advantage of the opportunities. And
And I've been very lucky to have support of my family over the years. So and that's vitally important. My mother worked in as a librarian at a university, so I was lucky enough to have free tuition at the university, which allowed me not to have any debt when I graduated, to have to get a real job so I could pursue my dreams. So a lot of support from friends and family over the years. And now that I think back on it, I never really had a secondary plan, which now in my 40s and being a little more responsible, realized that, man, that wasn't very smart, but it turned out. So yeah, I always felt very confident in my ability to pursue it and
Mhm.
make a success out of it. So I never really had a secondary plan.
that's interesting, because so often I interview people and they did have a secondary plan, or they were going a completely different direction, or someone like me who was going a completely different career path, and now here I am working, well, really working in the film industry, kind of in the background, but but so I mean and it's good that you had that much support. That is key. I agree that that's key.
And it's funny that I just spoke in front of some graduating film students up here yesterday or the day before, and I told them, pursue your dreams, don't give up on your dreams, but also just have a secondary plan. So I'm giving them different advice than what I had or what I did. But I guess as you mature in life, you realize, well, I did some foolish things and some risky things in my 20s. But I guess the key message that I gave to them was always keep your blinders on, like a racehorse. They have those blinders so that they don't notice the competition, they don't notice anything else is there, and they're focused on their goal. Because if they see that, they'll trip over their legs and not win the race. So I tell students, focus, have a clear path, and then discover the steps that you need to get to that path. My father always told me that he when I was a little kid, he said, he put me in front of the staircase and he said, you want to get to the top of the staircase, but if you jump and try to make it in one shot, you're going to fall flat on your face. So prepare a plan, one step at a time, focus on that one step. And then when you accomplish that, then focus on the next one and focus on the next one. So, so again, the support, yes. And I try to give that mentorship to other people. And hopefully they get a little luck. And, we have a whole bunch of producers up in this area in the next little while.
Yeah. Oh, well, and that's excellent advice. I love that, because as far as, one step at a time, it's so easy to say, well, this is where I want to be. I can see the end result, but I'm not sure how to get there. And so you don't create a plan to get there. And then it's just, well, I don't know how to get there. So you just kind of hang out. You hang out in one place and you don't go forward, sometimes not having that plan in place. So I like that advice. That's excellent advice.
Yeah. So I'm very, very blessed that, I had a smart father who steered me in the right direction. And mother, don't get me wrong, and mother.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I hear you. My mother's actually in the audience here today, and I would not be here without her. Well, of course, I mean, physically speaking, of course, but she has been a huge support when I started dabbling a little bit in the film industry. And some people were saying, what are you doing, Ruth? This is crazy. And my mom was the one who was always supportive, always there saying, oh, just no matter what she was thinking.
The same thing about me when I moved home. They said, you want to do what here? And 10 years later, I don't get those looks anymore.
Exactly. So when you came back to Canada, from this international career that you had, you ended up going up into like northern Ontario, which is where you're from, right? Right. And so it's interesting that you would choose that particular area. Was it just because you wanted to go home, you wanted to develop the film industry there, or what was your reasoning for starting in northern Ontario?
Well, you start to, being away for so long, you start missing birthdays and, funerals, unfortunately, and Christmases and holidays. And you realize that at some point that it's funny. Growing up in a small town, I always said I wanted to get out of the small town. The further I left, the more I wanted to come back, the more I appreciated what I had. And Hideaway Pictures, which is my company, is in essence that we have our little own hideaway, our little own paradise here. So if you ever go to my website and you see the logo, it's a boy sitting in a tree, and that's me dreaming of making movies and being a big success in this industry, sitting in a tree in my hometown, in nature, in the forest where I grew up, and dreaming of this. So in essence, Hideaway is where I'm from. We have a little own paradise, or a little own hideaway, and now we get to share it with the world and how beautiful it is up here.
That's cool. Yeah, because I know that it's a. I've heard from many people who filmed, of course, with your company. I've talked to lots of them, and they always say it's a rather remote area. Like, in other words, they've got to take, it's several hours to drive up there, or to travel up there. But they said once they get up there, other than they do sometimes complain about being cold when it's the middle of winter, they'll come back and they'll say,
you're in Canada. 3 months out of the year is cold, but like right now it's April and sun shining, and the grass is starting to turn and whatnot. But yeah, it can be cold, especially for those warm-blooded LA folks that are so used to perfect weather all the time. To us, it's normal. It's normal. It's like Minnesota. It's I like the four seasons, but yeah, but it is beautiful. And we want to also, when we have people come up here, to experience the beauty and share in it. And we give them ideas on what to do on the weekends and do some fun activity. So there's lots of, if you really love nature and beauty, this is a great place to come and visit.
Okay, well, you've sold me. I'm ready to just jump on the next plane and
we'll have to invite you.
I'm ready. It sounds nice. So, of course, you've worked on Hallmark movies, Netflix, now GAC, different series, and of course, a lot of my listeners, viewers are going to know about When Hope Calls, which that's how you and I got connected, really, was because of When Hope Calls. And we just loved, I mean, the way that I believe that an actual, like, the set had to be constructed, like you're kind of almost out in the middle of nowhere, and then there's this nice set that was built specifically for When Hope Calls. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. So when we knew we were going to be doing the series, we wanted to really showcase the beauty of the area. And given the period piece that When Hope Calls is, it really lended to really showcasing the beauty. One of the important factors I had was I wanted to make sure that the storytelling was unobstructed. So a lot of times when you're making a television series or a movie, you have, well, we can shoot in this area, but we can't shoot here because it's ugly or because it looks too modern. So how do we make a movie set in the early 1900s when we're living in the 21st century? So we found an area that was shootable 365 degrees, so that the directors and the storytellers had an unlimited amount of resources to be able to showcase. And we spent a couple of months. I have a little drone, and I droned around a lot of different areas. And then our showrunner, Alfonso, came up with our partner and executive producer, Mr. Cravoy, Brad Cravoy, and we decided on one location. And the reason why we decided on it was because it was picture perfect and was remote enough that we didn't have to worry about a car driving by or a plane flying overhead or whatnot, and built this town on a 60-acre lot. It's actually owned by a farmer who has thousands of acres, who decided that he wanted to share a piece that he didn't use very much for his cows. And given that we have our cow wrangler, a strong, powerful female character in Tess, we decided to write that character around the fact of the resources that were there. And so she became a cattle wrangler because the farmer on the land owned thousands of cows. So we could add to the production value of this. And so there, we allocated a 60-piece of land, plot of land, and we started building in 2019. When we started building, it just had happened that it was the record-breaking snowfall in the area in the last years. If you go on to some of our social media, you will see the transition of how we built it. But usually, like right now, it's mid-April, and there is absolutely no snow on the ground whatsoever. It's been a couple of weeks now. We had snow till mid-May or early May that year when we were building. And we had 12 weeks to build this town. So after design, we started designing in February, but then we had 12 weeks to build the town. And the town took 1,000 carpenter days in 12 weeks to accomplish. Mostly done in the snow. So the team that we had were mixed of locals and experts from Toronto, and we built this town. And our goal was to make it as picturesque and quaint and beautiful as possible. I grew up watching Little House on the Prairie with my family, and I really love this genre of storytelling and the period that it was in. So we really wanted to make it accurate to and authentic to what the period was. And you can see that in the clothing. Our costume designer was much of a stickler to make it accurate, to the point where in 1912 or 1918, there were no belt buckles because belts weren't invented. So it was all suspenders. So we made it a point to try to be as period and authentic as possible. And it turned out quite lovely. It's in the summertime. It's quite a beautiful place. But let me tell you, I probably lost a couple of years of my life with the stress level of getting it done in the time frame that we did, so that we could have it finished in time to film season 1. But it's the one thing I'm the most proud of. It was a lot of hard work, and the team is very proud of what they accomplished and the results of it. Oh, and I hope you guys all love it and the look of it.
Oh my goodness. When Hope Calls, I didn't know exactly what to expect because I was unfamiliar with a lot of the actors. I mean, I knew one or two here or there, but I was unfamiliar but I fell in love with it from the very beginning, and my mom and I just loved it. I mean, really, in many ways, probably even loved it a little bit more than When Calls the Heart, which is kind of not that we don't love When Calls the Heart. I mean, we still watch When Calls the Heart, but I think it was because we didn't know where exactly it was headed. So it was always an adventure to, like, every time a new episode would come on, it would be like, okay, what's going to happen this time? We're not sure what's going to happen with this character. And there were so many twists and turns and surprises because we didn't know the characters. You know, When Calls the Heart, not that there aren't any surprises, but we've known the characters for so many seasons. So now it's like with When Hope Calls, we have brand new characters to break in. And I loved it. I love the pacing of it, and I love it's just beautiful, beautifully shot. And I'm so glad that you guys had that first season on Hallmark, and then the pandemic hit, and we were like, oh no, does this mean that When Hope Calls is done? I mean, we were concerned, and I'm sure there were a lot of concerns with the pandemic just in general. A lot of productions got shut down. So what's the story? How did When Hope Calls end up, because it was on Hallmark, and then we didn't hear about it for a while, and then it ended up on a brand new network. So how did all that come about?
Well, those are, more detailed conversations okay. for the higher ups in LA on how they decide things move. Right. But the pandemic was extremely challenging for the world and for our industry, and we were shut down for quite a period of time. So I believe networks reassess what is important and reassess what they feel they should be moving post-pandemic in different directions. And this happens quite a bit as you know, and sometimes you don't know the internal conversations of what happens at the network. But the truth of the matter is, GAC being announced and having Bill Abbott at the helm of it is a great thing to provide and give all the fans more content, because we're always craving for more of this content in the world that isn't there. It seems like we have a lot of, and don't get me wrong, I love Marvel movies, I love superhero movies, I love all the movies that come out. I'm a cinephile. But I find that there is a lack of the movies that we all enjoy and we share a commonality in, the very wholesome, family friendly programming. So having the GAC family as a new network just means more resources and options for us to be able to go and watch the movies that we love and to see every year. Is never my mother, never enough Christmas movies for my mom. So now she has another network to fill in her PVR slot and watch these things. So, and GAC and Bill Abbott, they're very, very dedicated to family friendly programming, and they're focused on not only the highest quality of movies and stories, but stories and movies that you can be proud to watch and that you can have your entire family watch. And given this time and day and age with what's going on in the world with war and pandemics and whatnot, having a destination and a place to watch uplifting stories is always a great thing. And it's why I get up in the morning, because not only am I a storyteller, I get to add some positivity to the world. And the more positivity we have out there, the better. So I feel really great that I'm involved and I'm a part of this new endeavor going into year 2 of the network. So we're really excited.
And David, that was really, I love the way you answered that, because sometimes there is, if you happen to go on social media, it can be really easy to start thinking that all these networks are competing against each other and they're getting really brutal and they're fighting and because sometimes and it's just the nature of social media. I know social media can be great. We're getting conversations started, but then also it can be a vehicle that's not used for positive purposes sometimes. And so I appreciate what you just had to say.
Well, in this day and age, that vehicle allows for people to say stuff and not have any recourse or repercussions. So a lot of people say things that, one, are not true, or say things that are negative, knowing that it'll never come back to them. And the truth of the matter is, most of the stuff you see on social media is a little more exaggerated than what it is in real life. As a professional filmmaker, we work with multiple networks and multiple studios, and there is a mutual respect amongst filmmakers in general and studios and networks. And what you do see about a rivalry or anything like that is not the case. It's more of the fact that we're, Bill Abbott and GAC is giving more options and more content that is, I believe, is desperately lacking in the world. And, we're very excited about sharing more stories in the future.
I'm glad to hear you put it that way. This makes me very, very happy, honestly, because I think that I'm going to be very excited to get to share this. You put it very well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So speaking of When Hope Calls, there is a lot of discussion. A lot of people are asking, are there going to be more episodes? Will there be another season? Of course, we saw the Christmas movie, which was fabulous. Absolutely loved that. I was ecstatic to see, and I will admit, I was ecstatic to also see Daniel Listing and Lori Loughlin both a part of it. I loved that. Absolutely loved that. I was rooting for you guys.
We currently have Daniel here with us right now on our new and first GAC Christmas movie called Catering for Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's going to Catering Christmas. I put the 4 in, but we removed the 4. So Catering Christmas, and it's the first movie that GAC announced this year, and it's part of their Great American Christmas. So we're preparing for Christmas early this year, everybody. We have Daniel Lissing, and I worked with him years ago on a Christmas movie Very, very familiar, and we're really good buddies. Very excited to be here, and I talked to him that I was going to be speaking to you guys today, so he was very excited. Says hi, and he's currently on set working. I get to be in a nice, cool office and talk to you guys. And he's on a warm set, working. So, but he wishes everybody happiness and greatness and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So is there a way that we can help get another season of When Home Calls, or is that something that's in the works?
Your support and hearty support is always greatly appreciated. Brian Bird is very proud of the Hardys and family that has been created from the When Calls the Heart show and When Hope Calls now. Always, positive support is always great. Keep supporting, keep emailing, keep putting stuff on social media. And, we don't have anything to announce as of right now, but we're very excited to share some details about future episodes and season 2 at a later date. I let the professionals deal with announcements, and I'm just, again, a lowly producer who's behind the scenes. But we're looking forward to sharing more details in the future.
Oh, that's good. Well. Speaking of your role as producer, I know that a lot of my listeners and viewers are not clear on what it means actually to be a producer. Like, what is your role when it comes to these particular movies and shows?
I get the question a lot. I come from a family of builders. My father was a contractor and built buildings and houses and whatnot. So I always relate back to that. A producer is like a contractor. He gets a blueprint for a house. He gets a script. And then he has to figure out how to finance that house, how to pay for that house. So you have people like the networks and Brad Cravoy and the executive producers who then come in and help finance the house, the project, the movie. And then my responsibility is to make sure that I have the people, the creative and talented people necessary to bring the vision to fruition. And so we hire directors, and we hire locations people, and we hire art people and sets people and designers, just like a contractor will hire carpenters and carpenters and let's say framers and foundation people for cement and whatnot, and roofers. So I kind of do the same thing, but in regards to making the movie. And when we have a budget, we make sure that we want to stay on budget, of course, and plan and organize and manage the team and the schedule and facilitate the look and the interaction of the vision and the look with the creatives in LA, etc. I'm a contractor, and but I get to do it, on a movie set. That's the long answer. The simple answer is, what do? I watch TV for a living. I sit behind a monitor and I watch TV all day. So I'm a professional TV watcher. I'm a professional couch potato, let's say. But yeah, truly blessed to be able to do what I get to do and be able to be involved in the creative elements of storytelling and at all facets of it. So it's a lot of stress at times, and a lot of hard work and long hours, but the reward and the payoff is so great because you were a positive contribution to the creative process of something.
And I've honestly never heard a producer explain it just the way you did, and that was excellent answer. I think I even learned something in that, and I've talked to many producers. So great way to describe it. That's good. So I think I want to start opening up for questions because I know we have a wonderful virtual audience. So is there and I've got the first person here. She's all ready to go. Timmy, go ahead.
Thank you. So you just mentioned that you have long, stressful days. What do you do to wind down after one of these days? And also, how do you prepare if you know you have a day like that ahead of you?
The one thing from the progression of my career when it comes to long stressful days, when the what I've discovered in the last couple of years is having experience lessens the stress, because you know you'll encounter those problems, and you'll know that you have the confidence now with the experience that you'll be able to overcome them. So really, we're problem solvers, and having the more experience I get, the more enjoyable the job becomes, and the less stress I do have, because of the experience I've gained over the years to be able to have the confidence to tackle whatever is thrown at me. But as in any job, it is work, and it is difficult at times, and it can be stressful. But like I was mentioning before, I get to do it in an environment that I love. So when I go home at night, I get to be in an area, and I'm looking out my office window. I get to be overlooking the lake. I get to be in an area that I grew up in, that I love, and I love the lifestyle of being in Northern Ontario. So I have a lot of hobbies. I like fishing. I do a lot of boating. I'm an avid sailor, which I haven't had a chance since the pandemic to do very much. But when I get an opportunity, I love to go sailing. And if anybody has a sailboat or has ever sailed before, they'll know how meticulous sailors are with every little piece of equipment on their boat. And I find over the years and growing up and being a sailor, I've taken that meticulousness and added it to my profession, which has helped me enhance and be more successful. So I love to sail. In the wintertime, I started during the pandemic. One of the positive things that I encountered was I started snowmobiling. So, as Ruth said, the snow up here can be cold. So I decided to turn a negative into a positive and bought myself a snow machine a couple of years ago. So over the last 3 months, every Saturday I would wake up and spend 4 or 5 hours with some of my friends snowmobiling the trails of Northern Ontario. So I'm starting to really enjoy winter. 3 weeks ago, we got a hot spell, and I was praying for snow for the first movie, as we're making a Christmas movie, Catering Christmas, but also because I wanted to do a couple more weekends of snowmobiling. And then the hot spell happened. And it's funny how my attitude changed very quickly, because I was praying for snow, and then the second the hot spell happened, I decided to call it a season, put my snow machine away, and then the following day, now all I'm praying for is hot weather and sun. It flipped like that. So now I'm waiting for the ice to melt on the lake so that I can put my boat in the water and go boating.
Oh, sounds brilliant. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Timmy. All right, and we have got Paula. She always has the best questions, by the way, Paula Cooley.
Mine might be boring today, though, but can I back up to about the producing part of it?
Yeah.
What is when you see the critics going down, you see executive producer, and a co-producer. What are the difference between that?
And that's a great question, because sometimes the lines are blurred as to what is the definition of those things. In my mind, and the simple way to describe it is, an executive producer usually focuses on the financing and selling of the movie, and putting some of the major players together, helping with the development of the script and the creative parts of the script, and really financing it. A producer is the on-site person who will manage the production elements of actually making the movie. And then a co-producer is somebody who might be a junior producer who is assisting the producer. So instead of getting a full producer credit, they may get a co-producer credit. Then there are also line producers and associate producers. A line producer does exactly that, manages the line. So supports underneath the producer on the day-to-day workload of getting the crew paid, negotiating the deals for the crew members, making sure the schedule's on time, hiring the caterer, hiring the support vehicles and equipment and whatnot, would be a line producer. And in Canada, we have a name for the line producer who could also be a production manager, which is roughly the same thing. Now, in our day and age, people do multiple jobs. So if we simplified, an executive producer is financing and a producer is making, sometimes I'm helping with the financing, sometimes the executive producers are coming in and helping with the day-to-day producing. So in smaller movies, we tend to take on more roles than in the bigger ones, just because it's a smaller movie and all hands on deck kind of thing.
Are you also choosing who the director is or who the showrunner is? Is that your job?
I'm part of the conversation. What we like, the one most important thing that I've learned, especially being overseas and working with, I ended up working, Ruth mentioned one of the movies called The Host. I ended up working with a director called Bong Joon-ho, a Korean director. He, 2 years ago, won 4 Academy Awards for a horror movie, or a thriller called Parasite, and it won 4 Oscars. When working with a lot of very creative, successful, and talented people over the years, the one thing that I believe they have in common that helps with their success is collaboration. So, and creative collaboration is very important. So to answer your question, when it comes to choosing who the showrunner is, the director, the scripts, what changes are made in the script, it's a very collaborative endeavor. And there are a lot of people involved, including the network and the creatives at the networks, but it's very, very collaborative. So I am part of the conversation, and there's not really one person who is the stamp of approval. It's usually a very collaborative thing, and people bring a lot of positive ideas to the table, and a lot of positive ideas or a lot of good ideas can turn into one great idea. So, and it's very, very collaborative.
You have produced a lot of the Hallmark or of now with the GAC, but are you asked to produce, or like other stations like Netflix, or I mean, are you allowed to, or are you asked to produce other movies other than just the Hallmark or whatever, or do you just strictly stay?
We have partnerships with various networks and studios. I've done 3 Christmas movies for Netflix over the years. I did a television series, a vampire television series with Netflix 4 or 5 years ago. I've done some independent feature films and worked with studios like Paramount, and worked with other studios over the years. So it really, and my company also develops our own projects to do. So a lot of it is, I look for good storytelling, and I look for projects that I would be interested in working on, and who is involved in those projects, because there are certain people I would love to work with. So there's really no formula that I have on what I work on, but the truth of the matter is, my company and Brad Cravoy's company have a partnership, and we work a lot together. And we've known each other for 6 or 7 years, and we have a great partnership and a great relationship. So we work together a lot. And but at the end of the day, we work with various people and studios and networks. The truth of the matter is, like I was mentioning before, we're all filmmakers, we're all professional. So there's really no fine line in you have to work with one and not the other. We're available to work with various people, and we welcome it with open arms. We just want to, share in the storytelling process.
Just recently, I had never seen it before, the series The Good Doctor, which is based on a 2013 a series from South Korea.
Oh,
and wow. It was, I mean, I never heard of that until then I read your bio that said that you were acting or whatever in South Korea. Is it a big industry over there? I mean,
I was in South Korea between 2000 and 2008. And the South Korean film industry is a smaller industry because the country is a lot smaller than the United States. They started their industry in the late 70s, maybe early 80s. And I was there when things really started to get very interesting in the country. And a lot of movies were starting to slowly get international recognition. I've been saying for the last 20 years, the storytelling coming out of South Korea is top in the world. Some of the movies I've seen and some of the producers and directors and storytellers over there are so talented that a couple of years ago, Mr. Bong Joon-ho finally was recognized on a very big international level with the Oscars. But the truth of the matter is, and he is very talented at the top of his game for South Korea, but there are a lot of very talented people over the years that never really got the recognition. So I'm glad now people are starting to see South Korea as a very interesting way, or a very interesting area to show high quality filmmaking. It's been around for decades, but we're now starting to see it. So yeah, I think we will see a lot more over the course of the next few years.
And the last question. I have a grandson who is a girlfriend is doing film studies in Miami, University of Miami right now. And her father said to her, because she was an English literature major, and she wanted to switch to filming, and he says, you could switch to filming only if you continue with your English literature, so you have something to fall back on.
Oh, there you
and
go.
you mentioned that also. But she did her first. She had to direct, write, and produce her film. For her film, the hardest part for her was the fundraising.
It always is.
Yeah. Any advice? I mean,
I get a lot of questions on people saying, how do I make it big as an actor? How do I make it into directing or producing or writing or fundraising now? The truth of the matter is every project is so unique that it takes on a different path of its own. So you can't really go into specifics on how to do it because every project is unique in its own. But there are commonalities and things that a person can do or behave or act that will make their process have a higher chance of success. Tell her to stay focused on what she wants. Never take no for an answer. Never give up. You're going to get a lot more no's than you are going to get yeses. And those people who give up, will never pursue or never be able to finish their endeavor to the final stages of it. So never take no for an answer. Continue with that laser focused vision, and she's going to be the most passionate about her project more than anybody else. Let that passion come out when she's talking about her story and when she's talking about her project to other people. And hopefully, because I find I'm a very passionate individual. I'm Italian, so with a lot of arms waving and whatnot, I'm a very passionate individual. And I find passion is very addictive. If you show passion, that you can get people to fall in love or be addicted to your passion. So tell her to be very passionate, and I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah. My grandson has also learned that he's very into it now. He has to carry the boom boxes and the microphones and everything. She's given him a part of everything to carry the equipment.
and that's the first thing. You may not have millions of dollars to make your first movie. You may have $5 or $15 or $20. What I say is get your mom to cater for your friends and say you guys will get and have them and promise a lot of favors, and then deliver on those favors once they're cashed. But the first movie is all about favors. Is all about asking your friends to be involved. So make the endeavor. Filmmaking it's a very cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Making movies is very cool. So people want to be involved naturally in doing something that's fun and cool. So make it fun, make it cool, and people will want to come and help out. And as long as they're having fun, they'll continue helping out.
Yeah.
And then they probably want free pizza, so mom has to step in with with some homemade meals or some. Or
Yeah.
some
Her first house fell through that she had rented to film in. And so I was at the house at the time, and we got a phone call like 11 o'clock at night and said, can the film crew show up tomorrow to use your kitchen and your living room and your dining room? Oh, and by the way, Grandma, do you think you can help Mom get a craft food table set up?
He's on the right path.
We did it.
He's on the right path already.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. Thank you. All right. And we have Elizabeth coming on.
Hi, I want to first say that I have no doubt that children will be coming in and out of the picture while this is prime mom afternoon time. But I want to first thank you, David, for your time this afternoon. I know you're very busy in the middle of your workday and have come to talk to us.
This is the highlight of my day, truly. Maybe today.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So some friends of mine and I'm a college professor, are in a writing group, and we write novels and stories. And over the past 2 years, we've been stuck at home with our children that are aged 15 down to 5. And we have been really bereft of programming to watch. And we got it in our minds that we wanted to be the change that we wanted to see on TV. Like there is no programming that we like from 5 to 15 that teaches life lessons or things. I call it parenting help a little bit, watching things on screen, and you just don't have many opportunities to just leave the channel on anymore and have things come. Like it's very hard to find that. And so if we wanted to be we are writers, but if we wanted to start to craft novels and stories, heartwarming, uplifting, what I would call GAC programming that really speaks to those of us at the time in our life, I call us raising the demo, meaning we are raising the kids that are going to be watching your stuff later on, because we're watching with them, we don't know anything about the industry at all. Is it screenwriting classes? Is it, what is it? We're writers, we do it, but we don't know how that goes. How do you pick projects? How do you pick things that would be the writing that you want to see?
Well, again, that every network, every studio has different paths that they want, and goals that they're trying to achieve, and projects that they want to be associated with. So at that high level, it would be trying to find out what they want and trying to fit it in the box, their box. When it comes to specific about what you're talking about, and you said, how do I become a film screenwriter? Oh no, I am a screenwriter. You're also a filmmaker. We have at this day and age the easiest access to content creation. Everybody has a phone. Most of them are iPhones or Samsungs. They all have 4K cameras on them. There is no reason. I tell young kids who want to be filmmakers, you have an opportunity I didn't have. I didn't get into the film industry till I was 18, 19 years old, or 20, in the university years. But now kids who are 8 years old are making TikTok videos and YouTube videos and whatnot. Yeah. So
well, I guess this is where I might differ a little bit. And that is the story is the most compelling part to me. Like, I don't need it to be on screen so much. In my head, but the collaborative part, right? So I have the story and I can tell it and I can write it. But I don't feel like a filmmaker. It's an interesting, there's a whole nother level of specialty and a whole nother level of creativity. And it's almost like that's why you would want the collaboration. It makes it that much better, right?
So your question is mostly focused on screenwriting.
Yeah, it really is, because isn't that really where it starts, right?
It is.
It's the beginning
with a great idea. And what I used to do when I was younger and I was first starting out and writing stuff, I would write and put everything on paper as much as I can. And by no means am I calling myself a screenwriter, because I'm not. But they say that you need to write, before you become a good writer, you need to write 1 million words. So continue writing. But while you're writing, you have, as you say, an army of kids who are very passionate, who want to watch these things. Do a little screenplay. See how what you put on paper transforms onto, while somebody is speaking them. And if it takes a life, and use that opportunity to say, oh, that doesn't sound right, and change those things up, and have them perform little plays for you, and have writing sessions with your friends to come up with ideas. Because as I mentioned, it's a very collaborative process, and 20 good ideas can turn into one great idea. But now, once you've written your million words and you have a great idea and you want to put it on paper because you want to take it and maybe do this for a living and sell it to a network, or sell it to a producer, or convince a producer to take on the project, then you will have to be a little more technical in the writing process. So what the standard computer program or writing program that people use is called Final Draft.
Right.
So getting that program and writing that way. Now, what's beautiful about Final Draft is that Final Draft has already formats for you to use. So they'll have a 30-minute sitcom format. They'll have a 60-minute drama TV format. They'll have a Universal Studios feature film format, etc. And so you can use those formats within the program to begin writing. And again, just keep writing. Now, one of the things that is a standard thought when it comes to storytelling in general in the world, from something you see in the cinema to Ernest Hemingway to the Bible, that there is a structure on how to tell a story. And that structure is, for the most part, when I'm generalizing, similar. A very good book that most writers do read is a book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces by, and I can't remember his first name, I'm looking it up right now, by Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell talks about the path of a hero. And in every movie, there is a hero. There's a good guy and a bad guy. There is a introduction to what the story and the people that are going to be, and then there is some kind of a conflict that happens with the main character, and that conflict is either with another human being, like in a Superman movie, Superman,
Right.
Somebody else,
right,
could be.
And also there's the heroine's journey too, right? I mean, there these sort of I mean, so all of us are writers, like have either written a novel or written a book, or I'm an academic researcher and have written a ton, so all of us are in that sense. But it's what's so unique about GAC, and I'll cede the floor because your time is precious, and I'm so thankful that I get to talk to you because I'm dying to ask this question. There's not a lot of content, and you want to see more of it. And it seems like well, at least I know me and my little team of people want to create content that would go into that you want to see. And so that's why we're asking these questions.
So write a script, use Final Draft, research all the players that are involved in the networks and that you want to be a part of and you want to share your story with. Reach out to them. Hopefully some of these companies solicit or will take unsolicited scripts from you. And if the story and the content if it's a great story and it's good writing, somebody will be and you're passionate about it, that passion is very, very much will transcend to somebody else, and they will come and want to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of your insight. It's really helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That was great. All right. Well, we'll finish up here with our last question here. My mom. So see, I saved the best for last. She's
No, it's really not a question. I just have a couple of comments. First of all, the reason you do not have snow in your area is after having 75-degree weather in the Pacific Northwest. Yesterday morning, I opened up the door at 4 a.m. with beautiful, huge snowflakes coming down, and we were covered in snow, and we're having it off and on all week long. So we got it instead of you, and my spring flowers are just drooping. They said, what happened? They're cold and they want warmth again. So that's why you didn't get snow. But I just want to, I'm usually not, I'm not a very emotional person, shall I say. I don't get really hyped like my daughter does. I mean, she just goes hooting off all the time. But when she announced and told me that GAC had picked up the series When Hope Calls, I get it mixed up. Yeah, When Hope Calls. I admit I hooped and hollered, because that, from the very first time I saw the first episode, I was so drawn into that series, and I was so disappointed when it was like, it's not, where is it? Where is it? And when she told me that JC had picked it up, I got so excited. And I can tell after listening to this what you've been sharing for this past hour, why you have such passion and such articulate. You're so articulate in your ability to bring what seems very lofty and high to me, because I don't know anything about, the film industry, and I'm drawn in because of Ruth, but I really don't know anything. I just know when I watch a movie, I either like it or I don't like it, and I'll watch it again or I won't watch it again. That's kind of my limitation. But I can, after listening to you and how you have described the industry and your job and your role, I can tell why I was so drawn in. And I just thank you. Man, I am so looking forward to season 2 and many more seasons. It's a beautiful story, and it's heartwarming, and it's just a treasure. I just want to say thank you.
I truly appreciate it. And the truth of the matter is, when making something like this, it's a very big collaborative effort. And it's not only collaborative in the people who are writing it, like Alfonso Moreno and his team, or the people who are producing it, like me and Brad Cravoy and Brian Bird, or the crew members that are putting it and bringing it its life onto the screen. But it also has to, it's a collaborative effort in the people who are watching it. And you guys are vitally important to any of our successes, because if we make a movie and nobody watches it, we're not going to make another one. So you guys are vital, and knowing your ideas and your thoughts are always welcomed, because we want to make sure that you guys stay entertained and make sure that you enjoy what we do, because we enjoy it so much. So we want to share it with you, and we want you to enjoy it as much as we possibly can. And one of the reasons why I don't tend to do podcasts or anything like that, and I was very honored to be asked to do it, but I really want to share the behind the scenes with you guys, because we have so much fun, and we want you guys to be a part of our fun, because without you guys, we wouldn't get to have that much fun.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank you. It's a fantastic, amazing story, and I really do look forward to the episodes coming for season 2. So thank you very much to you and your team. It's fantastic. So thank you. Have a great day.
All right. Well, David, thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who asked questions. Thank you, David, for sharing your time with us. It's been a joy to get to hear more of your story. And if you guys in the audience, if you would like to unmute and express your appreciation to David, go ahead.
Thank you so much. It's been really informative. I really enjoyed this.
I love this. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing so much information. I learned a lot too. I loved it. Thank you.
Hopefully we can do more of it and try to find ways to have you guys be more of a part of what we're doing, because as I said, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have this much fun, and we would love to share in the fun. And we're going to have a lot of fun this year. Catering Christmas is just the first of many shows that we're going to be making this year that will be announced very shortly. And, it's going to be Christmas all year for us. So all summer we're making Christmas. So we hope that you guys are a part of it, and you guys, tune in to GAC and the new network. And we're really, really excited to have you guys part of our journey, because we're really having a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, David. And thank you everybody for being here, and have a great rest of your day, rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks. Bye. All right, then. Who's tuning in to Catering Christmas? Show of hands. Well, okay, I can't see your hands. Sorry. Bad joke, I know. But what I want to say is, this episode, I learned so much. So many of my people who were there asked questions. There were many in attendance that didn't ask questions, which brings up the point. So this particular episode, David Anselmo, you can go to all the links, and of course you can visit all those links. I'll encourage you to do that. Go to the show notes, and of course turn on Great American Family and watch Catering Christmas and watch everything else that they're up to. But this does bring up the point. Have I seen you as a member of my virtual audience? There are lots of you that I haven't, and I would love to have you come on. The strength of this show, as much as I love my guests, and I wouldn't be doing it without having guests, but you guys are the heart of the show. Every single time, what I hear from my guests is, I had so much fun. They asked such great questions. Now, I invite you, join that Facebook group. Come on and join me on these episodes. That's what makes it so much fun. I envision that we will have so many people that I'll have to issue tickets. So come on, people. I would love to see you there. But if you're not able to be there, then I appreciate so much that you are listening. You are following me, Apple Podcasts, right? And you are also subscribed on YouTube. And you're giving this video a thumbs up. More than anything, I want you to enjoy whatever it is that you do in this world. So please, don't sit there and think that somebody else is going to do it. If there is a dream in your heart, just like there was for David, go after it. The world's waiting on you. And maybe one day you will be the one who will be on my podcast as a guest. You never know. I want to wish all of you the absolute best. Let me know what you think of this episode. I'd love to get your feedback. No matter where you are in this world, have a great, great day. God bless.